friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So today I'm back with another Christmassy speed build in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. I feel like I'm slowly but surely turning Henford-on-Bagley in a little Christmas village because I am currently prepping for a Christmas Let's Play, and so I need a couple of builds for that. Starting with the Christmas farmhouse that I uploaded a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, now I'm currently working on another build. And actually, as I'm recording this voiceover, I'm still in the process of recording the Christmas Let's Play, so I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna end up using this one or if that is maybe for like a season 2 or something, like maybe next year. I'm not exactly sure, but I was in the mood to sit down and build a Christmas inspired bakery, and that is what we're doing here. It's a little bakery that, when it comes to the bakery, I think it would be best to actually run it as a small business, but then I also made sure that it is functional as a cafe community lot as well. So if you wanted to use it as a cafe, then that's also an option. And it actually has a really small studio apartment on the second floor. It is only very small, and the way I did the window situation for this one made it definitely just kind of impossible to create a closed off bedroom. So I decided to just not do that and just have it be a little studio apartment with a kitchen, because I do think that's where most of the baking takes place. If you're gonna run this as a small business from home and you actually have a really cute baker sim living in the studio apartment, then they can do all their baking upstairs, and then you can slot all the things that they bake to the little bake displays thing in the store, and then they the things that you put in there are automatically up for sale. If you're playing with the small business situation, then that automatically works, which I just think is really cozy. And then there's also a coffee bar here, so you could have one of your employees hire them as a barista or something, and then they can sell they can run the coffee bar kind of situation, and then you can sell little coffees that way. I think that's just gonna be so cute. Or like I said, you could just use this as a cafe community lot for your game, and then that works perfectly fine as well. You may want to close some doors if you do that though, because maybe you don't want the customers to go upstairs to the little studio apartment. But the studio apartment has its own separate front door and hallway situation, so that is a very easy thing to fix. And I was just feeling so inspired because I found this picture or drawing of a little house on Pinterest that I thought was absolutely perfect. It was actually a bakery. It said bakery out on the little sketch as well, and it was just so cozy, and I was immediately just feeling so inspired by it. So I decided to use that as inspiration for this build. And I think that this is especially later on, I did end up making it snowy, and I put decorations on the exterior, on the wall or on the roof trims and on the spandrels and all that, so it looks very cozy and wintry. And it just looks like one of those miniature Christmas village houses, I feel. And as I was actually decorating this over on Twitch, someone was like, "This is giving gingerbread house vibes," and I thought that that was absolutely perfect for what I was going for here. Obviously, I wanted it to be as Christmas coded, as nostalgic, Christmassy, 90s Christmas as possible, and I do think that really comes across that way. The color that I used for the brick, this tan kind of dark beige color, obviously really helps with the gingerbread vibes as well. It basically just looks like a little gingerbread house, and I couldn't be more excited about it. And I just feel like this style of building works really well in Henford-on-Bagley. I do realize that I've been doing a lot of builds in Henford-on-Bagley and they're all Christmas coded, but that's because I just explained in the beginning, that's because I'm working on a Christmas Let's Play, and that's what I'm going to be using all these builds for. And I'm actually so excited. My mind is just, all I can think about is my Christmas Let's Play, because that's what I'm preparing and basically recording back to back. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just very excited about it, and I cannot wait to share it with you. I'm pre-recording a bunch of things because, December is a crazy month. I have my sister, she's coming to visit me next week for about a week, I want to say 6 days or so. So I can't really do a lot of recording then, or any recording. So I'm kind of trying to pre-record a couple things. So as I'm sitting here recording this, I'm not exactly sure when this is going to go up, but I think it's before the first episode goes live, but I'm not exactly sure. So forgive me if this is very rambly and a little bit confusing, but yeah, that's just how it is. I have, this is my very first December of being a full-time content creator, and what I'm learning is how I'm gonna put it, is that I need to plan a little bit better. I need to get a little bit better at planning ahead, especially for months like these, but you know, it's okay. It's okay, it's all a learning curve, and I'm just doing this for the very first time as a full-time creator. So it's all good. I just really don't want to miss a lot of uploads in this like December month. So I'm just trying to get ahead a little bit, and I don't know. I think I'm doing a pretty good job, but it is also a little stressful at times. But then I get to like sit down and do voiceovers for a cute Christmas bakery that I had so much fun building, and then it's all worth it, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I basically just had so much fun. I had a blast decorating this. I was messing around with a layout for this a little bit because it did turn out super small, actually. Surprise, surprise. My builds always turn out smaller than I kind of like intend them to for some reason. Especially when I'm doing cutesy builds like these, I really try to like keep them very cutesy and small, so obviously the inside is going to be pretty small as well. So I was messing around with that a little bit for a while to see how I was going to fit everything in, because we do have the coffee counter and we need there to be some space back there for a sim to actually also like stand there and like work the coffee bar. I was having some issues with that for some reason when I was playtesting the build, but I did playtest it and made sure that everything is placed in a way where it shouldn't be problematic at all. But obviously, you know, forgive me if it's not working properly for you, but it should. Like, I did adjust it in a way where it ended up being functional for my sim anyway, so we should all be good. But of course, before I made it snowy, I did have to do a little bit of landscaping. I really wanted there to be some plants. I wanted this to look cute in other seasons, or, you know, without snow as well. Obviously, in other seasons, you may want to go through and delete like the wreaths and all the things that I placed on the exterior, the red bows and all those things. Because those are obviously very Christmassy. But then I also made sure to have my playtester sim go through the decoration box and put all the exterior decorations up, and those don't actually translate through the gallery. So if you download this build and put it in your game, then those will be gone, which is fine, I guess. You could just have your sim go through and place your preferred decorations. But I just thought it looked so good with those little twinkly lights hanging from the roof. I don't know, I just think it is so gorgeous and definitely looks like a little winter wonderland Christmas village type of building, I feel. And I have recently become obsessed with those red bows. I don't know why. I didn't use them more often in previous years, but I think they're so cute. I think they're from the free holiday pack that came out years ago at this point, just like the Christmas tree that I placed outside, and I think I also placed that one on the inside of the build. So I used that one a couple times, but I do believe those are from the free Christmas stuff pack that came out years ago. And that little red bow, I just feel like looks so cute when it's placed on the windows, and I don't know, it's just so magical looking. So I obviously ended up placing that. I also did some terrain paint. However, I think at some point the game magically deleted the terrain paint. You know how it does that sometimes? I think it did that for this build because when I later on took screenshots and everything and actually like placed it down and there was no snow, or I was looking at it in build mode and there was no snow, the terrain paint was gone. So I don't know if the terrain paint is on the gallery because I put it on the gallery when it was all snowy and cute. So I can't tell. So forgive me if the terrain paint got deleted, but it's a very easy one to kind of do, like redo if you're gonna place this in your game yourself. The only thing I did is I basically created a little pathway going up to the staircases that connects to the sidewalk. And I put some dirt under the plants that I placed, and then that is literally it. So it's a really easy one to terrain paint if you wanted to do that. But when the exterior was all done and decorated and landscaped and looking cutesy, I moved on to the interior of this bakery, and I had so much fun with this window area here. I wanted it to look like I said, like your nostalgic 90s Christmas kind of bakery. So I placed that really ugly, but like in a good way, dining table also from the free holiday stuff pack actually. I placed that by the window, and then I put a couple of those round tables with the tablecloths. I think those are so cute. And then I put some of those like cake plateau type things on those tables as well. I did have my playtester sim, which was Hagrid, by the way. I don't know that's just funny to me. I had Hagrid go in and like bake all types of pies and cookies and all the things to kind of fill up the plateaus and also the stand, like the bakery displays for the most part, not everything, because oh my goodness, I have 3 displays total placed in this bakery, and so much stuff actually fits in them that I had Hagrid baking so many things, and it just wasn't enough to fill up everything. So at some point I just gave up. I was like, okay, well, at least we have some cute pies and whatnot on the like cake or pie plateau type things on the tables, and we have a couple of things scattered around in the bake like displays. But oh my goodness, 3 displays is quite a lot actually. If you want to fill them up all the way, then your sim is going to have to do a lot of baking, which I think is really, really cute, honestly. Also to display through, and especially during the holiday season, I think that would just be so much fun to do. But yeah, I did fill them up a little bit, but not all the way. And then at some point I realized, okay, if I want to have this functional as a cafe as well, I really want there to be some seating. You know, I want Sims to just be able to grab a coffee and, you know, a little treat and sit down and have some coffee. So I decided to place some chairs by the Christmas tree, and then also a couple of chairs by the little round tables that I placed out front. So we have a couple of places to sit, but honestly not that many. There are some tables and chairs outside though as well, and there's like a cute Christmas tree there. So I think that would be the cutest spot to sit if it's not actually like actively snowing. That is, because there's no like roof or like cover or anything there. But if it's just like sunny, it would be nice to sit there, even if it is snowy out. You know, I feel like that would just be so magical. So there's definitely some seating around, but not a whole lot, and it's very cramped, and that's exactly the vibe that I was going for. So I'm really happy with how that came out. And then essentially for this bakery, for the most part, I was just having so much fun with all the season's decorations. I placed it everywhere on all the walls. I placed those little cutesy cards that are hanging like on the wall there, and also here by the coffee bar area. And as you can see, I did close off this area with a half wall and then a door. I always think that that is kind of nice to have it closed off, especially when you're using this as a small business so that your customers can't really get behind the counter if you lock the door. I think that's kind of nice to do it that way. It just looks a little bit more realistic. And then downstairs for the customers, we also have a bathroom, of course. And I just love this base game tile that I used in here. It doesn't really go with any of the red and green color scheme combo that I'm going for this build for the most part, but I don't know, it just really gives gingerbread kind of colors in a way, and so I felt like that was a fitting thing to do here in the bakery. And then we have this other area. So this is the front door or like hallway area that leads upstairs to the studio apartment. And the studio apartment is only very, very small. Like I said, it is a studio apartment, so there's no like closed off bedroom or anything, but there is a bed. So the way I was thinking about this is that maybe your sim actually, like, if you're running this from the small business side of things, then I think your sim could like own this bakery, but actually actively live somewhere else. But then if they have a very busy time ahead of them, especially around the holidays, let's say, they can do like nonstop baking and actually crash here, like sleep here in the studio apartment. I feel like that is just like a nice option. But I didn't really decorate this with a permanent like living situation in mind. Obviously it is possible because it is fully functional. It also has a full bathroom, so you should be all good there. But I was kind of thinking that, you know, maybe they live somewhere else here in Henford-on-Bagley and they own this bakery, and then they sometimes sleep here if necessary, you know, but they don't always sleep here if it's not like necessary. That's kind of what I was thinking. But I did want to give them a nice kitchen here because obviously there's going to be a lot of baking being done here in this kitchen. So yeah, I placed a nice kitchen area with some island counters as well. And someone in chat, actually, I don't know if you can see it now, but over to the right in the kitchen, you can see that I swapped out a full wall for a half wall, which I think is so cool. It creates this open space by the staircase, and you can actually look down into the hallway. I don't know why, but I just thought that that was such a creative idea, and it wasn't something I would have ever come up with by myself. So I was really happy with that suggestion. I basically did that because the full wall was was kind of cutting off the window a little bit awkwardly. So I didn't really know how to fix that, and someone said, like, maybe put a half wall instead of a full wall and open up the space that way. And I thought it looked so cool. So that is definitely something I'm gonna have to keep in mind and maybe like try for some other builds as well. I also ended up placing a couple of extra windows here on the side of the lot, which to me was something I really had to get over, because now the side of the house with the chimney in the middle kind of looks like a face. And I hate it when that happens, but also it is the side of the house and no one really cares that much. And it was just kind of nice to have a couple of small windows. Otherwise, those walls were just going to be so empty, and it was just nice to have just a tad bit of extra like daylight coming through. So that's what I ended up placing. There's also a little 4-seater dining table here in this apartment, and obviously a bed as well. And then I didn't really have space for a proper living area, but I decided to just kind of create a separation here by placing this nice love seat with the really high like back up against the back of the bed. And then it kind of like separates the sleep area from the sitting area, if you will. So that ended up working out really nicely, actually. So I did that. There's no TV or anything in here. There is a radio, there is a bookcase. So there are a couple of like sources of entertainment, I guess, for your sim. But then for the most part, whenever they're here, they're probably busy baking a lot. So yeah, that's what the little kitchen is for. I obviously had to clutter that up as well. I placed some of the Home Chef Hustle items because we have that really fun mixer, which was obviously a must to have here in this kitchen. I placed like a little cookbook stand, the kitchen scale, some knives, and just all the little like storage bins and all those things to really make it look like a sim has been busy baking in this kitchen. And obviously the kitchen clutter kit came in handy for that as well, because it comes honestly with just the best kitchen clutter, which, you know, the name already kind of suggests, but it was really working out for this one as well. I also came across that cookie jar and I was like, oh my goodness, obviously I have to place a cookie jar in the bakery downstairs. So I did that as well, because that is just such a Christmassy looking item and I cannot believe I forgot about that. So I placed some cookies downstairs, and then for the rest, I just decorated this studio apartment a little bit. I couldn't have the bakery all decked out for Christmas, but then the apartment like be normal, like that was not going to happen. So I had to just kind of blend it in that way and put a bunch of little cards and candles and, you know, little, what's the name for that? Like the little leaf kind of situation for on the table. I thought that was so cute also with the little berries and stuff. And then here we have a full bathroom where I just used that same wallpaper and tile combo from the base game. And I just turned it into a full bathroom with a shower top combo, a sink, and a toilet, which is very standard, but it's all functional. But that's actually it for this bakery. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you the build in real time. So here we have the bakery in the game. It's actually snowing right now a little bit, and doesn't it just look so magical? I think it's so cozy, and it definitely kind of looks like a gingerbread house, I feel. Also, I don't know where these lights came from, but all of a sudden we have some twinkly lights going over here as well, but it's all good. You know, the more the merrier, I feel. But yeah, this is the front of the bakery, and I feel like it looks so much cuter with the snow as opposed to just the terrain paint that I did, so I feel like that's kind of good. Here on the side, you can see that we have a seating area with some tables and chairs and some little lanterns. There's a Christmas tree here, so you can definitely enjoy your coffee and your baked goods outside too. But then let's go inside. So this is the entry into the bakery, of course. And as you can see, I did have Hagrid do a lot of baking, so there's a couple of things in the displays. Not sure where the pies went that I placed. Oh, I think I actually put those in here too, because otherwise they like go bad at some point. But look how cute this looks if you just put the pies up here. And actually, I didn't know this, but when you plonk things and put it on here, the game also automatically sets it for sale. So that's actually really good to know. But in the bakery here, obviously we have displays, we have a Christmas tree, and then this area. This is purely decorative. The items on this table aren't up for sale or anything, but they do look really cute. There are a bunch of decorations, of course, and then over here is the coffee bar counter setup, and obviously there's more baked goods and things here as well. Off to the side here is a bathroom for the customers to use. It's very self-explanatory, but it's nice that it's there. And then when we go back outside, on the other side, we have a separate front door that leads you into the studio apartment. So over here is a small hallway where I placed the decoration boxes. There's some cute boots by the front door and then a coat rack as well. And then when we go upstairs, this is where we have the apartment. So first of all, there is obviously a door into the apartment, and then that's it. So it's not really, there's not a whole lot to it. But of course we have a little seating area here, and then there's the kitchen. As you can see, Hagrid has been using this kitchen. I think I uploaded it with a dirty counter as well. So I'm so sorry about that. You're gonna have to do some cleaning. I also don't know why Hagrid chose this counter to work on because it's full of stuff, but for some reason it wasn't in the way. I don't know how that works. There's a small 4-seater dining table here, and then this area in the kitchen is what I was talking about earlier, where I swapped out a full wall for a half wall. And you can kind of look down into the hallway. I don't know, I really like how the space is opened up this way. And then we have that really beautiful window there in the corner. I don't know, I really like how this looks. And then there is a full bath over here as well. So you could have a sim like just live here permanently. That would obviously work, maybe even a couple. So yeah, it'd be nice and cozy. But that is actually it for this bakery. So this Christmas bakery and cafe is up on the gallery. I uploaded it as a residential, so you can use it as a small business, or you could actually place it and then change it into a cafe lot type, then that should work as well. And I built it on the 1 Cobble Bottom Street lot in Henford-on-Bagley, which is a very small 20 by 15 lot. So if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's gonna do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and turn on post notifications if you want to be notified every time I upload. You can find me over on Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram if you'd like. My username over there is Simmary Sims. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!